My beloved child, be still for a moment and listen closely, because what I want to share with you has the power to change the way you see yourself. I have seen every moment you quietly questioned your worth, even when no one around you realized what you were carrying. I was with you on the nights when disappointment settled heavily on your heart and thoughts whispered that you were too broken, too delayed, too weak, or too forgotten to become someone whose life truly mattered. While others only saw the smile you managed to wear, I remained beside the tears you never let anyone see. Those voices were never mine, my child. I did not create you to live beneath the weight of fear or allow self-doubt to become the measure of your life. Before the world ever looked upon your face, before opinions were spoken over you, and before rejection ever touched your confidence, I had already placed purpose within you with my own hands. Long before anyone misunderstood your story, I knew exactly who I created you to be. For too long, you have viewed yourself through the eyes of people who never understood what I was doing in your life. Their words slowly became louder in your heart than the truth I have always spoken over you. Some laughed at your dreams because they judged only what they could see today. They noticed your struggles, but they could not see what I was preparing during your season of waiting. They saw your wounds, yet they never recognized the strength I was quietly forming within your spirit. They mistook your silence for weakness while I was building a strength that would one day stand where fear once ruled. So, my beloved child, do not measure your life by those who cannot see what heaven already knows about you. I know how difficult this journey has been, and I know there were moments when you gave everything you had and still felt unseen. I want you to hear me today, and because I take care of impossible lifted. I saw people overlift your heart, dismiss your gifts, and speak carelessly about your future as though they had authority over what I had written. They believed your delays were proof that nothing meaningful would come from your life. And after hearing those voices often enough, part of your own heart began to believe them. Little by little, your hopes became smaller because disappointment seemed easier to trust than hope itself. But listen carefully tonight, my beloved child. People may speak about your circumstances, but only I speak over your future. The purpose I placed within you was never built upon human approval. Before your first breath filled your lungs, I had already formed your spirit with intention, placed strength, compassion, wisdom, resilience, and purpose within you, and nothing rejection, delay, betrayal, failure, or fear has done can erase what I created. People may misunderstand you, but they cannot rewrite what I have spoken over your life. They may walk away, yet they cannot remove my hand or take away what I have entrusted to you. There is a reason the enemy fought so fiercely against your confidence. There is a reason fear tried to settle into your thoughts so early, and why discouragement seemed to follow certain chapters of your life. Darkness always presses against what carries purpose. Before you recognized what I had placed inside you, the enemy sought to bury it beneath doubt, making your mind a battlefield where your identity was constantly questioned. Pain was meant to persuade you to abandon what I planted. Rejection was meant to convince you to settle for less, and fear hoped your voice would remain silent. Yet look at where you are, my child. You are still here. You have been bruised, weary, and at times deeply confused, yet you are still standing, still breathing, and still seeking me. Stay with that truth for a moment, because it tells a story your fears cannot. My hand has never left you. I know there were quiet nights when you whispered, "Lord, if you truly placed greatness within me, why has this journey been so painful?" Hear my answer with an open heart. What carries lasting purpose is often prepared where no one else can see it. Seeds remain beneath the soil before they break into the light. Gold passes through fire before its beauty is revealed, and mountains are shaped through pressure over time. In the same way, I have been strengthening you throughout seasons you could not yet understand while you were living through them. Your pain was never meant to destroy you. Your waiting was never meant to erase your future. What felt hidden was never punishment. It was preparation. There are parts of who you are today that could only have been formed through the battles you survived. Compassion grew where pain once lived. Wisdom emerged from disappointment, and resilience took root each time you endured what should have overwhelmed you. You became stronger in the very places where you once believed you were weakest, and you learned to keep walking through storms you never imagined facing. Even when all you could see was your own exhaustion, I saw something deeper. I watched your spirit growing beneath the surface, quietly becoming stronger with every season you continued to trust me. My beloved child, Stop calling yourself weak simply because you have grown weary. Do not decide you have failed because your journey has taken longer than you expected. Do not look at an unfinished season and conclude that your life is ordinary. Heaven has never measured greatness by applause, influence, wealth, or status. True greatness begins with the purpose I placed within you, and that purpose reaches far deeper than you can presently see. You were never created by accident, and I did not carry you through every trial only to leave your story unfinished. Even during the seasons that felt confusing, when nothing seemed to fit together, my hand remained upon your life, quietly guiding each step. If God has used this message to answer your prayer, leave a comment saying, "This message was my confirmation." I want you to remember that every chapter of your life has remained in my care, even when you could not recognize my direction. I know there were moments when giving up felt easier than believing again. There were days when disappointment rested so heavily upon your heart that hope itself felt almost too painful to hold, and you wondered whether your prayers were still reaching me. Yet every time you came close to surrendering to despair, I quietly strengthened you once more. Whenever life pushed you toward emotional collapse, my grace carried you farther than your own strength ever could. You are still standing because I have remained beside you, and although you questioned yourself, I never questioned the purpose I placed within your life. That is why I am speaking to your heart tonight. The season of making yourself smaller because of fear is coming to an end. I will not allow fear to become the loudest voice over your future, nor will I allow rejection to define who you are. The opinions of wounded people have never held authority over the life I created. What I placed within you is still alive. The purpose remains, the calling remains, and your future continues unfolding, even if the journey has felt painfully slow. My child, people laughed because they judged a chapter that was never the whole story. They looked at what was unfinished and assumed they understood your future, while all along I was quietly working where human eyes could not see. While they questioned you, I was preparing you. While they overlooked you, I was strengthening you in places that mattered far more than outward recognition. What I have been shaping within your life will not remain hidden forever. What is ahead will not arrive unnoticed. The confidence I restore will be evident. The healing I bring into your heart will be evident. The doors I choose to open, the peace I return to your spirit, and the breakthrough that unfolds in its appointed time will all reveal the work I have been doing throughout these hidden seasons. Those who underestimated you will one day witness what happens when heaven completes its work in a heart that continued seeking me through every battle. So lift your head again, my beloved child. Stop agreeing with every fearful thought that tells you that you are less than I created you to be. Stop giving yesterday's rejection the authority to speak over tomorrow. Your life was written by my hands, not by human opinion. And what I have established cannot be undone by delay, failure, betrayal, fear, or even the moments when your own heart struggled to believe. Tonight I want you to remember who you truly are. You are not forgotten. You are not ordinary. You are not abandoned. You belong to me, and the purpose I placed within you before your first breath still lives within you today. Pause for a moment and listen carefully. These words have not come into your life by accident. Do not scroll past thinking this is only another message. And do not let distractions steal what I desire to speak into your heart right now. I have brought you to this moment because your soul has been carrying far more than the people around you have ever known. You smiled while your heart was hurting. You kept moving while your spirit felt exhausted. You answered, "I'm fine," while quietly feeling as though something inside you was slowly breaking apart. I am speaking now because I refuse to let you continue believing that you have been fighting this battle alone. I know how heavy your heart has become. I know there were nights when your thoughts would not grow quiet, and old memories, past failures, and lingering disappointments circled through your mind until weariness settled deep within your soul. I watched you question your value. I watched you wonder whether your life would ever truly change, or whether fear, delay, confusion, and emotional pain would always be your story. My beloved child, hear me carefully tonight. Your story does not end where your pain began. What you are experiencing today is not the end of your future. It is the place where change begins to unfold. That is why I ask you to receive these words with an open heart. The enemy has spent far too long convincing you that your future is smaller than what I created it to be. Fear filled your thoughts because it sought to overshadow the purpose I placed within you. Your confidence was attacked because your purpose mattered. Disappointment surrounded your life because pain hoped to silence your spirit before your journey continued forward. Yet after every battle, every moment you nearly gave up, and every season that left you emotionally drained beyond words, you are still here listening to my voice. Stay with that truth for a moment. It is living evidence that my hand has remained upon your life all along. If this message has encouraged your heart and helped strengthen your faith, you are welcome to support this work through the support link or QR code provided in the description. Your support helps continue sharing messages that encourage hearts and deepen devotion to God. My child, there were seasons when you truly believed no one noticed what you were carrying. You became so practiced at hiding your pain that even those closest to you could not see how weary your spirit had become. You carried burdens quietly because you were afraid of becoming too heavy for someone else to hold, and you kept encouraging others while your own heart was slowly running empty. You kept pressing forward because life never seemed to pause long enough for you to catch your breath. But I witnessed every battle you fought in secret, and I saw every tear you quickly wiped away before anyone else could notice. I saw every anxious thought that stole your peace in the middle of the night. I heard every quiet prayer you whispered into the darkness when you asked me for strength, because you did not know how much longer you could keep carrying everything by yourself. Even when heaven seemed silent to you, I was listening to every cry that rose from your heart. I know my silence left you with questions, and there were days when you wondered why my answers seemed delayed while others appeared to move ahead with ease. You questioned why certain doors closed without warning. You wondered why people walked away after promising they would stay, and why your heart felt caught somewhere between hope and exhaustion. Listen carefully tonight, my beloved child. My silence was never abandonment. While you were waiting, I was already at work in places your eyes could not yet see. There were dangers I shielded you from without your knowing, relationships I allowed to end because your spirit had already outgrown them, delays that preserved you from burdens you were not yet prepared to carry, and closed doors that quietly guarded your peace. I know disappointment made those moments difficult to understand. When pain is fresh, it often feels like rejection instead of direction, and what seemed like everything falling apart was, in truth, my hand gently arranging your future according to my purpose. This message is meant to comfort your heart, but it is also calling you to remember what you have almost forgotten. You have carried fear, self-doubt, and emotional exhaustion for so long that surviving became your focus, and little by little you lost sight of who you are in me. You forgot that the purpose I placed within your life remained even after pain found you. You forgot that delays could never erase what I had already spoken over your future, and you allowed rejection, failure, fear, and disappointment to shape an identity that was always meant to be rooted in me. The enemy worked tirelessly to pull your heart away from that truth. He whispered that you were not enough, that your mistakes had disqualified you, that your waiting meant you had been forgotten, that your dreams reached too far, and that nothing would ever change. After carrying emotional pain for so long, those lies began to sound familiar. But tonight I am calling you away from every fearful voice that has spoken against your life. You are not forgotten. You are not behind. You are not beyond restoration. You are not too weak for the purpose I have given you, and I have never abandoned you. If only you could see yourself for one moment through heaven's eyes, you would understand why your confidence faced such relentless opposition. The purpose I place within you remains untouched by your present pain. Your delays cannot erase what I have prepared, and there is strength within your spirit that you have not fully recognized yet. The season you have been living in is changing. The days when fear seemed to rule your thoughts are coming to an end. The season where exhaustion shaped how you saw yourself is passing, and the habit of viewing your life through pain instead of my purpose is giving way to something new. Before you see everything unfold, I wanted your full attention tonight. I wanted your heart to become still enough to hear my voice above every other voice that has spoken fear, because the world has spoken over you long enough. Your past has spoken long enough. Your disappointments have spoken long enough. Now hear what I have always spoken. You are my child. You have always been held within my care. I have protected you through battles no one else could see, guided you through seasons that made little sense, loved you even in your weakest moments, and treasured you even after rejection wounded your heart. What I placed within you before your first breath is still alive today. I know you are tired. I know your heart still carries wounds, And I know fear sometimes tries to return without warning. But do not mistake weariness for defeat. You have already survived storms that should have overwhelmed your peace. You endured betrayal, loneliness, confusion, disappointment, and battles few people ever understood, yet my grace carried you farther than your own strength ever could. So receive these words deeply within your heart. Your life is not over. My purpose for you has not been canceled, and your future has not been ruined because your journey has been painful. I am still writing your story, and the next chapter will not look like the one before it. The pain you have carried will not define you forever. The confusion you have wrestled with will not rule your life forever, and the fear you have battled will not have the final word. I already see doors beginning to move that you cannot yet see for yourself. I already see healing touching the places you believed would always remain broken, and I already see your spirit rising again after such a long season of emotional heaviness. Soon, my beloved child, you will understand why I never allowed you to surrender completely. So take a deep breath tonight and rest quietly in my presence for a moment. Stop carrying guilt, because everything has not happened yet, and stop judging yourself for becoming weary after walking through difficult seasons. You are human, and I understand your pain completely. Now I am calling you to move forward once again. I am not leading you back into fear or deeper into despair, but toward healing, restoration, confidence, peace, and the purpose I have always held for your life. If this is the cry of your heart, say, I give you everything, Lord. My beloved child, what is ahead will not arrive unnoticed. It will break through every place where fear once persuaded you to stay small. Before the world ever spoke your name, I already knew who you would become. Before your first breath filled your lungs, before your eyes opened to this world, before anyone formed an opinion about your future, I had already placed purpose within your spirit, with intention and love. You were never an accident. Your life was never without meaning. Long before misunderstanding found you, before rejection wounded your confidence, and before fear whispered lies into your thoughts, I had already determined that your life would carry a purpose far greater than what human eyes could immediately recognize. I want this truth to settle deeply within your heart tonight. For too long you have measured yourself through the pain of your experiences, instead of through the way I see you. You allowed disappointment to define your worth, rejection to determine your value, and unanswered questions to shape your expectations for the future. Without realizing it, you slowly forgot who you truly are, and because the road became difficult, you began believing your life was ordinary. Little by little, your dreams became smaller because repeated disappointments wounded your confidence. But my child, difficult seasons have never canceled the purpose I placed within you. Pain may slow your steps for a time, but it cannot erase what I established before your life began. When I formed you, I did not create a life without purpose. I did not intend for you to spend your days simply surviving beneath fear, confusion, and emotional exhaustion. I created you to carry light wherever darkness surrounded you, and to remain standing through storms that seemed powerful enough to sweep everything away. There is strength within you that even now you have not fully discovered. There are gifts the world has not yet seen, wisdom quietly shaped through hardship, and resilience that could only grow through battles few people ever knew you were fighting. My beloved child, there is a reason your journey has often felt heavier than you expected. Great purpose often meets great resistance. The enemy recognized the value of what I placed within you long before you fully understood it yourself. That is why fear tried to become part of your identity. That is why self-doubt followed you through so many seasons, and why rejection seemed to wound you so deeply. Darkness presses hardest against what carries lasting purpose. The enemy hoped emotional exhaustion would keep you from believing what I had spoken over your life. He wanted disappointment to silence your confidence and your wounds to speak louder than your faith in the one who created you. Yet after every attack against your spirit, you are still here. Stay with that truth for a moment because it matters more than you know. I know there were quiet moments when you asked, if you truly placed greatness within me, why has this path been so difficult? My beloved child, what endures is often prepared where no one else can see. Seeds remain hidden beneath the soil before they reach toward the light. Gold passes through fire before its beauty is revealed, and mountains are shaped through years of steady pressure. In the same way, you have been living through a season of preparation, even when your heart mistook it for punishment. I have been strengthening you through every difficult chapter, teaching your spirit endurance in moments that nearly overwhelmed you. I have been shaping wisdom through your pain, deepening compassion through your wounds, and growing maturity throughout your waiting. Parts of who you are today could only have been formed because you endured those battles. You learned how to keep moving when your heart felt tired. You discovered how to walk through loneliness without letting go of your faith, and you continued loving even after disappointment touched your life. Even when confusion clouded your thoughts, you kept searching for me. Those lessons were painful, but they were never empty. Every storm carried hidden preparation. Every delay accomplished quiet work within you, and every battle strengthened something your future will one day require. So, my beloved child, stop condemning yourself because your journey has been difficult. Do not mistake hardship for being forgotten. Some of the strongest hearts are formed in the hardest seasons. Some of the deepest wisdom is born through suffering, and some of the most powerful testimonies grow out of battles that no one else ever fully sees. You have been comparing your private journey with someone else's public moments, and that comparison has convinced you that you are falling behind. But your story was never meant to unfold exactly like anyone else's. I lead each of my children according to the purpose I have given them, and every purpose requires its own preparation. You became discouraged because you expected the fruit before the roots had finished growing. Yet heaven often prepares quietly before revealing openly. I needed to strengthen your spirit before opening certain doors, heal places within your heart before greater responsibility arrived, and teach you to depend on me before success could enter your life without stealing your peace. There were blessings that remained delayed, because your heart needed deeper preparation first. It was never because I had forgotten you, nor because I desired for you to remain in suffering. It was because I love you enough to prepare you well for what is still to come. And my beloved child, what is ahead of you is far greater than it appears today. Right now, you can only see the portion of your journey that has been marked by waiting, questions, and unseen battles. But I have always seen the whole picture from beginning to end. For too long, fear has covered the strength I placed within you, and surviving your pain became such a daily battle that you almost forgot how much life, courage, and purpose still remain inside your soul. You became so focused on making it through one day at a time that you stopped recognizing the quiet work I was accomplishing within you. You lost sight of how deeply your life matters to heaven, and you overlooked the gentle truth that my hand has never left you, even through your darkest seasons. I have remained with you through every chapter, including the ones that felt silent, uncertain, and empty of hope, because my presence has never depended on your ability to feel it. Tonight, I am reminding your heart of what has always been true. I am not creating a new purpose for you. I am calling you back to the one I have always placed within you. The purpose I planted in your life still remains. The calling I entrusted to you has never disappeared, and your future was never canceled simply because the road became painful. People underestimated you because they judged a story that was still being written. They looked at your struggles and assumed nothing would ever change. They mistook your waiting for failure because they could only see today's circumstances, while I was quietly preparing tomorrow beyond everything their eyes could perceive. Some dismissed your dreams because they only understood what was visible on the surface. They measured your future by your present condition instead of by my faithfulness. After hearing enough criticism, you slowly began questioning yourself as well, until their voices became louder than the quiet truth I had spoken over your life. But listen carefully, my child. Human opinions have never carried authority over what I have spoken. What I planted within you cannot be removed by rejection, erased by failure, or destroyed by delay. Seasons may conceal what I have created, but they can never cancel it. What I established with purpose continues to live, even through seasons marked by suffering, because my work does not depend upon human approval. I know there are still words from the past that echo in your mind. Certain disappointments settled more deeply into your heart than you ever intended. And there are moments when old conversations quietly return just as you begin believing in yourself again. Those memories have tried to convince you that they still hold power over your future. Tonight I am asking you to release those voices. Lay them down before me. They were never meant to define your identity or determine the direction of your life. I alone know the fullness of the purpose I formed within you. And I tell you with complete certainty that what I placed inside you is still alive, still growing, and still waiting for the right season to be revealed. My beloved child, You are stronger than you realize. You survived battles that should have stolen your peace, and you walked through seasons where your soul grew weary beyond words. There were days when you wondered how you would take another step, yet somehow you continued moving forward because my grace quietly sustained you. Even when doubt clouded your heart, you continued searching for me. Even when you felt weak, you continued standing. Even when you believed you had been forgotten, hope remained alive within you, because I planted that hope there from the beginning, and I faithfully protected it even when you felt unable to protect it yourself. The enemy tried to convince you that your life would never become meaningful, but those words were never the truth. They were only attempts to distract you from seeing what I have been doing all along. Your story is still unfolding. The best chapter has not already passed you by, and the purpose I established over your life continues to develop with every season you endure. In time you will understand why certain doors remained closed, why some people walked away, and why delays often protected your future instead of destroying it. One day you will look back and recognize that what felt like interruption was often my protection, and what seemed like silence was often my careful preparation. Tonight I simply ask you to trust me again. Believe that I knew you before you were born. Believe that I placed purpose within your spirit with intention and love. Believe that your life carries meaning beyond your present pain, even if you cannot yet see where the road is leading. Believe that fear does not own your future, delays do not determine your destiny, and human disappointment cannot cancel what I have written over your life. My word over you has remained steady through every changing season. My child, I did not create you to spend your life hidden beneath fear. I created you to rise through what tried to overcome you, to experience healing where wounds once lived, and to carry peace into places shaped by storms. I created you to become someone whose compassion has been deepened by suffering and whose strength has been refined through perseverance. The purpose I place within you before your first breath is beginning to be seen in ways that can no longer remain hidden. What has quietly grown beneath the surface is moving toward its appointed time. I know how deeply it hurt when people laughed at you, questioned you, overlooked you, or treated your dreams as though they had little value. I saw the moments when you smiled outwardly while your heart quietly broke within. I watched you walk away from conversations carrying wounds that no one else realized had been left behind. You tried to convince yourself their words no longer mattered, yet I watched how certain conversations lingered long after they ended. I saw criticism slowly attach itself to your confidence until you wondered if perhaps those voices were right about you after all. But hear me carefully tonight. They judged a chapter that was never your whole story. People often misunderstand what they cannot yet see. They look at delay and assume failure. They look at struggle and assume weakness. They look at hidden seasons and believe nothing important is happening. Yet heaven does not work the way the world does. Some of my greatest work takes place where human eyes cannot yet recognize what is growing. What appears quiet is often where lasting transformation begins, because I care as deeply about who you are becoming as I do about where you are going. While others focused on your present condition, I was preparing your future. While they mocked your waiting, I was quietly strengthening your spirit beneath the surface. While they underestimated your journey, I was accomplishing far more than they could ever imagine. I was shaping your character, refining your faith, and teaching your heart to trust me even when visible answers had not yet arrived. What seemed hidden was never empty. It was a season where I was faithfully preparing what only time would reveal, ensuring that what I entrusted to you would rest upon a strong and lasting foundation. My beloved child, I know you longed for someone to understand your heart. You wanted your effort, your loyalty, your pain, and your potential to be recognized. You wanted reassurance that your life was moving towards something meaningful, and that your perseverance was not unnoticed. Instead, many misunderstood your silence, overlooked your struggles, and looked at your delays as though they were the final chapter of your story. Because your heart was already wounded, their words reached deeper than you admitted to anyone else, and you quietly carried those wounds long after everyone else had forgotten the conversations that caused them. There were nights when you replayed those painful memories again and again. You questioned what you could have done differently and wondered whether lowering your expectations would protect you from future disappointment. There were moments when rejection became so heavy that shrinking your dreams felt safer than risking another disappointment. But my beloved child, I never reduced the plans I formed for your life. Long before anyone formed an opinion about you, I already knew who you would become. I knew every struggle before you faced it, every tear before it fell, every betrayal, every lonely season, and every disappointment that would try to weaken your confidence. None of those moments surprised me, and none of them changed my purpose for your life. Even knowing all of that, I still formed your life with purpose. I still chose to write your story with meaning, even through seasons that seemed impossible to understand. You believed your hidden season meant you had been forgotten, but hidden seasons are often where my deepest work is accomplished. Just as seeds remain beneath the soil before they break into the light, gold is refined before its beauty is revealed, and mountains are shaped through years of pressure. I have been faithfully preparing your life in ways that were invisible long before they become visible. The work happening beneath the surface has always been preparing you for what lies ahead. My beloved child, through every painful season you have endured, I have been shaping something strong within your spirit. None of your waiting has been wasted. None of your tears have been wasted. None of the rejection you experienced has been without purpose. Even the moments that came so close to breaking your heart were quietly building the strength your future would one day require. Every difficult season added something lasting to your character that comfort alone could never have produced. I know there were times when you looked around and wondered why everyone else seemed to be moving ahead while your own life felt as though it had been placed on hold. You watched others receive opportunities while you continued waiting. You saw others recognized while your own faithfulness remained unnoticed. And in the quiet of your heart you asked me, Lord, why does it seem that everyone else is moving forward while I remain hidden? Those questions came from an honest heart, and I heard every one of them. My child, your journey was never meant to unfold exactly like anyone else's. I have been preparing you in a different way because the purpose I entrusted to you requires a deeper foundation. What I am building in your life cannot stand upon shallow strength. Before I allowed greater responsibility to arrive, I was growing deeper roots within you. The world often celebrates what comes quickly, but heaven values what endures. Lasting fruit always grows from roots that have learned to remain steady through every season. There were things I did not allow you to receive too soon, because your heart needed time to become strong enough to carry them well. Blessings received before the right season can become burdens instead of gifts. So while others misunderstood your hidden season, I was quietly strengthening your character, deepening your wisdom, bringing healing to your heart, and teaching you to depend on me instead of depending on the approval and applause of people. One day you will recognize that my timing was never working against you. It was faithfully preparing you for everything I had already planned. If his whisper is drawing your heart closer today, type, I hear and obey you, Lord, and share this message with someone who may need this encouragement.